They thought they had him. 10 men, all armed, all positioned. Bumpy Johnson walked into that warehouse alone, unarmed, exactly like they planned. The doors locked behind him, the lights went out. And for the next 45 minutes, the Eastside Crew learned something terrifying. In the dark, numbers mean nothing. And Bumpy Johnson owned the dark. March 17th, 1951. The night that ended the Eastside Crew forever. To understand what happened in that warehouse, you need to understand the war that led to it. The Eastside Crew wasn't some small-time gang. They controlled the docks on the East River, ran protection rackets from 96th to 110th Street, 25 soldiers, 3 lieutenants, and a boss named Vincent Vinny Razor Calabrese, who'd been trying to push into Harlem for 2 years. Bumpy had warned him, twice. Stay east of Lexington Avenue, everything west belongs to me. Vinny didn't listen. In February 1951, his crew started shaking down Harlem businesses. Small stuff at first. A grocery store here, a barber shop there, testing boundaries. Bumpy sent a message. Peaceful, professional. Pull back, or there's consequences. Vinny's response came 3 days later. One of Bumpy's policy runners was found beaten half to death in an alley. Message received, war declared. But Bumpy didn't rush into war. He studied. He watched. He learned Vinny's operation inside and out. And after 3 weeks of surveillance, Bumpy's people reported something interesting. Every Friday night, Vinny and his top 10 soldiers met at an abandoned fish warehouse on the East River. They counted money, divided territory, planned operations. Same place, same time, like clockwork. That's when Bumpy made his decision. He was going to end this war in one night. March 16th. The day before the warehouse, Bumpy called a meeting with his inner circle. Illinois Gordon, Willie Jackson, Raymond Quick, his most trusted men. I'm going to Vinny's warehouse tomorrow night, Bumpy said calmly. Illinois stood up. Boss, that's suicide. They'll have 10 guns on you the second you walk in. That's the plan, Bumpy replied. What? Bumpy pulled out a blueprint of the warehouse. He'd had someone on the inside sketch the layout. Vinny wants me dead. He's been trying to draw me out for weeks, so I'm going to give him what he wants. I'm going to walk right into his meeting. Willie shook his head. Boss, even you can't fight 10 armed men. I'm not going to fight them, Bumpy said. I'm going to make them fight each other. He pointed to the blueprint. This warehouse is old, built in 1923. Fish storage. That means no windows, one entrance, one exit, and most importantly, terrible wiring. The lights in there flicker on a good day. Raymond leaned forward. You're going to cut the power. Before I even walk in, Bumpy confirmed. I've already paid the building supervisor. At exactly 9:05 p.m., he's going to trip the main breaker. Whole building goes dark. And then what? Illinois asked. Bumpy smiled. Then I go hunting. March 17th, 8:45 p.m. Bumpy Johnson stood outside the fish warehouse on the East River. He was dressed in all black, no weapon visible, just him and the darkness. Inside, he knew the Eastside Crew was gathering. Vinny Razor and his 10 best soldiers, all armed, all waiting. Bumpy had sent word earlier that day through a mutual contact. I want to negotiate, face to face. Tonight, 9 o'clock, your warehouse. Vinny had laughed when he got the message. Bumpy Johnson walking into my warehouse, alone? He's either stupid or desperate. Either way, he's dead. 8:55 p.m. Bumpy's watch beeped softly. 10 minutes until the power cut. He walked to a payphone across the street, called Illinois. Everyone in position? Bumpy asked. Willie's got the east perimeter. Quick's got the west. I'm on the south exit. If anyone runs, we've got them. Good. Nobody gets out. Nobody gets in. What happens in that warehouse stays in that warehouse. Boss, you sure about this? I'm sure. See you in an hour. Bumpy hung up, took a deep breath, and walked toward the warehouse. 9 p.m. Bumpy knocked on the warehouse door. 3 solid knocks. The door opened. One of Vinny's soldiers, a thick-necked enforcer named Big Lou, stood there with a shotgun. You got some nerve showing up here, Johnson? Vinny and I need to talk, Bumpy said calmly. Business? Big Lou smiled. Oh, we got business for you all right. Get in. Bumpy walked in. The warehouse was exactly as the blueprint showed. Large open space, concrete floor, old fish-cutting tables pushed against the walls, and in the center, 10 men standing in a semicircle. Vinny Razor sat on a wooden chair like a throne. "Bumpy Johnson," Vinny said, spreading his arms. "You actually came. I'm impressed. Stupid, but impressed." Bumpy looked around slowly, counted the men, studied their positions. "I came to end this war, Vinny. Your crew pulls out of Harlem. I let you keep the docks. Simple." Vinny laughed. "Let me keep the docks? You're in no position to negotiate, Bumpy. You're standing in a room with 10 guns pointed at you." 11, Bumpy corrected. "Big Lou's behind me." "Right, 11. Vinny stood up. "Here's my counteroffer. You die tonight. Your territory becomes mine. Your people work for me. And Harlem finally gets a real boss." Bumpy checked his watch. 9:04 p.m. "Vinny, before you do something you can't take back, let me ask you a question. Have you ever fought in the dark?" Vinny frowned. "What?" 9:05 p.m. The lights went out. Complete darkness, total blackness. For 3 seconds nobody moved. Confusion, then panic. "What the hell? Someone hit the lights. Where's Johnson?" Bumpy didn't answer. He'd already moved. The second the lights died, he dropped to the floor, rolled left behind one of the old fish-cutting tables. Someone fired a shot. Wild. Panicked. The muzzle flash lit up the room for a split second. Enough for Bumpy to see positions. "Stop shooting, you idiots!" Vinny screamed. "You'll hit each other." But fear doesn't listen to orders. Another shot. Then another. Men firing at sounds, at shadows, at nothing. Bumpy stayed low, moved silently along the wall. He'd spent the last week studying this warehouse layout. He knew every table, every crate, every corner. These men didn't. He found what he was looking for, a metal pipe, old plumbing torn out during renovations, heavy, solid. One of Vinny's soldiers was breathing hard near the north wall. Bumpy could hear him, smell his fear. He crept closer, closer, then struck. One swing. The pipe connected with the side of the man's head. He dropped without a sound. "Marco? Marco, where are you?" Another voice. Close. "I'm here," Bumpy whispered, disguising his voice in the darkness. Footsteps approached. Bumpy waited, listened. The footsteps stopped 3 feet away. Swing. Another man down. "Someone's in here with us," Big Lou shouted. "I can hear him." "It's Johnson," Vinny screamed. "Find him! Kill him!" But how do you find a ghost in the dark? More shots, more panic. And in the chaos, Bumpy moved like smoke. He knew exactly where each man was by their voices, their breathing, their fear. He found a second pipe, threw it across the warehouse. It clanged against the far wall. 3 men fired at the sound. Their muzzle flashes revealed their positions. And more importantly, they revealed they were firing at each other. "Cease fire! Cease fire!" Vinny's voice was cracking now. "You're shooting each other." Bumpy picked up a piece of glass, threw it in another direction, more shots, more confusion. One man screamed, "Friendly fire." "We need to get out of here," someone yelled. "The door! Where's the door?" They scrambled toward where they thought the exit was, bodies colliding in the darkness, panic spreading like wildfire. Bumpy was already at the door. He'd locked it from the inside, pocketed the key. "It's locked!" Big Lou screamed, slamming against the door. "We're trapped! Break it down!" Vinny ordered. 3 men started throwing themselves against the door. Solid steel, wasn't moving. Bumpy circled around them, found another soldier crawling on the floor, trying to hide. 1 strike, down. "How many of us are left?" someone cried. "I don't know. I can't see anything." "Vinny, what do we do?" Vinny Razor, the man who'd terrorized the East River for 5 years, was silent. Because for the first time in his life, he was truly afraid. Bumpy's voice cut through the darkness, calm, cold. "Vinny, you wanted war. This is war." "Johnson, I'll pay you. Whatever you want. Just let us out." "You had your chance to negotiate," Bumpy replied from a different position now. His voice seemed to come from everywhere and nowhere. "You chose violence. Now violence chooses you." One of Vinny's men broke, completely broke. started firing his gun wildly in every direction, screaming. The muzzle flashes lit up the warehouse like a strobe light. In those brief flashes, the remaining soldiers saw bodies on the floor, saw each other's terrified faces, saw that Bumpy Johnson was a shadow moving between them. The gun clicked empty. Silence. Then Bumpy spoke again. 6 of you left. Drop your weapons, lie face down on the floor, and you might survive this. Don't listen to him, Vinny screamed. He's bluffing. He's one man. Am I? Bumpy asked. Are you sure I'm alone in here, or did I bring help? Can you see them in the dark, Vinny? Can you be sure? The psychological warfare was working. Men started whimpering, crying. One voice. I'm dropping my gun. I'm done. I surrender. Me too. I'm out. 3 men laid down their weapons, got on the ground. That left Vinny, Big Lou, and one loyal soldier named Frankie. You cowards! Vinny screamed at the men on the floor. Get up and fight! But they didn't move. Bumpy approached the 3 standing men. They could hear his footsteps now. Slow, deliberate, coming closer. Big Lou fired in the direction of the sound. Missed. His hands were shaking too badly. Bumpy grabbed his wrist in the darkness. Twisted. The shotgun clattered to the floor. One punch. Big Lou went down. Frankie swung wildly with a bat. Hit nothing but air. Bumpy disarmed him. Used the bat. Frankie dropped. Now it was just Vinny Razor, the man who started this war, alone in the dark with Bumpy Johnson. Johnson, Vinny's voice trembled. We can work this out. Partnership. I'll give you everything. Just please. You beat my runner half to death, Bumpy said quietly. You threatened my people. You thought you could take Harlem from me. So no, Vinny, we're not working anything out. What are you going to do? I'm going to teach you something. Fear isn't about numbers. Fear isn't about guns. Fear is about knowing that no matter where you run, no matter where you hide, I will find you, and there's nothing you can do to stop me. Silence. Then a sound. Vinny running, stumbling in the darkness, trying to find a way out that didn't exist. Bumpy didn't chase him, just waited. Listened to Vinny crash into walls, trip over bodies, cry out in frustration and terror. Finally, Vinny collapsed in the corner, broken, defeated. I give up, he sobbed. You win. Just turn on the lights, please. 9:47 p.m. 42 minutes since the lights went out. Bumpy walked to the main door, unlocked it, pushed it open. Light from the street lamp spilled into the warehouse. The scene was carnage, bodies everywhere, some unconscious, some groaning in pain, blood on the concrete, weapons scattered across the floor. And in the corner, Vinny Razor, the once feared boss of the Eastside Crew, curled up in a ball, shaking. Bumpy looked at the 3 men who'd surrendered. Get up, take your boss, get out of Harlem. If I ever see any of you again, there won't be warnings. There won't be negotiations. Understand? They nodded frantically. Go! They grabbed Vinny, dragged him out of the warehouse. The other survivors who could still walk followed, limping, broken. Bumpy stood in the doorway, watching them disappear into the night. Illinois ran up. Boss, you okay? Bumpy nodded. Call the cleanup crew. Make sure the ones who can't walk get to a hospital. Anonymous drop-off. What about Vinny? Vinny's done. He'll leave New York by morning, and if he's smart, he'll never come back. Willie and Raymond arrived. They looked at the warehouse, then at Bumpy. Not a scratch on him. Boss, Willie said quietly. What happened in there? Bumpy straightened his jacket. I reminded them that Harlem isn't for sale, and I taught them that sometimes the scariest weapon isn't a gun. It's the dark, and knowing someone who owns it. He walked away from the warehouse. Behind him, the cleanup crew moved in. By dawn, there would be no evidence of what happened. No bodies, no blood, no trace. But the story spread. Word traveled fast through New York's underworld. Bumpy Johnson had walked into a warehouse with 10 armed men waiting, and he'd walked out alone, victorious. The Eastside Crew dissolved within a week. Vinny Razor was never seen in New York again. And for the next decade, whenever someone thought about challenging Bumpy Johnson's territory, they remembered March 17th, 1951. They remembered that numbers don't win wars. Strategy does, intelligence does, and knowing how to turn your enemy's advantages into their nightmares. If this story inspired you, Smash that subscribe button. Drop a like if you believe that real power isn't about being the strongest. It's about being the smartest. Share this with someone who needs to understand that sometimes the darkest moments reveal who the real kings are. What would you have done in that warehouse? Let me know in the comments. More legendary stories coming next. Don't miss them.